What's good? Welcome to First Stream Podcast presented by Bet Rivers. Got two questions for you real fast. One, did you set your fantasy lineup? And number two, do you have Prime? If you don't, you're looking for the game right now. Hey, today we have a great show for you. We got 5 so minutes with Ant. We got Adam from the Burgundy and Gold Report to join us as we talk about Detroit, and we're going to bring you 8 good college picks to play this week, so you guys know what time it is. Right now, it's time to get into it, so let's go.
Artlist.io.
Once again, we are brought to you by Bet Rivers. Make sure you download the Bet Rivers app or go to www.betrivers.com. You must be 21 years or older to play. Hey, let's get the squad in here so we can get this thing going right now. Sid, how are you, bro?
Starting at the bottom, but I'm going to be there.
You're going to be there. You're going to be there. Hey, let's bring in a man who's never down, always up. Ant, how you doing?
Hey, these are noise cancellation because all this hate that y'all be bringing at me, I ain't trying to hear none of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm still repping what I'm repping, and it's a Thursday night at the Blueprint Cigar Lounge, so you know anything can happen here. It's almost like Vegas.
Okay, I got you.
Oh,
hey, she's last, but ladies first. Lady A, how you doing?
I'm doing well. And Ant's not always on top.
Ant's not. Whoa.
Wait, what? Hold on, Lady A.
Wait,
Let me cut in right now. What is this even about? What is this even about? You done made
what is our NFL record?
Oh, okay, that's what we're talking about. Oh, okay. I thought we were.
That's what I'm talking about. See, y'all wrong.
Hey, let's bring in our guest today, Adam from the Burgundy and Gold Report. Adam, how are you, man?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
We are glad you are back, man. I mean, some people got to clarify what they talk about around here because, whoa. Man. Hey, but hold on. First off, hey, listen, I gotta give it to her right fast. I'm gonna give Lady A this single shot right here, and the reason for this is because right there it says at Lady Antoinette. That's her Twitter handle. She's on there. Go give her a good follow. She putting out good content. So make sure y'all hit that follow button for her. And then we're going to say what's up to everybody in the chat. Hey, Kyle. I thought Kyle was first in the chat today. I don't know why I keep saying Kyle was first in the chat. I think Sid took his comments down.
Removed.
He said 2610, and then Bruce Glass is in the building right here, and Kyle and Droopy's in the building. Said keep taking that comment down.
Removed.
All right, and Kyle said what's good. Bruce Glass and Droop, like I said, they are in the building. If you're in the building, make sure you post up and say what's good to us, man. We got you. So with that being said, Ant, are you ready, sir?
All right, guys, listen. Let's get to it. I wish I could put this to where I could be up there with it, but I'm just gonna touch on it and then we're gonna get into it. So, as you can see, I changed some things. Dallas Cowboys champions turned mediocre franchise. Man, what can I say? That was a very poor showing this Sunday night. Tom Brady will probably remain undefeated against the Cowboys for the rest of his career. Dak, 14-29, 134 yards and an interception. The most pathetic showing. Well, no, it's not the most pathetic showing because most times when Dak is put in the situation to perform, it's a pathetic showing. They elected not to put him on IR. I don't think it matters either way because that team is not good. As y'all heard me say last week, and I'll step back in for this for a second. As y'all heard me say a couple of weeks ago, I was expecting for this team to be sufficient on defense, less than adequate on offense, and that was true even in an astounding loss. But if you look at what the defense did, holding Tom Brady in that offense to 4 field goals and a touchdown, I mean, it's still going to be a very good defense. But if they cannot score, this is going to be a very, very, very long season. I would like to say before I pull the screen back up that I now know what it's like to be a Redskins fan.
Whoa!
All right.
Shady.
So, the receiving core. If we look at the receiving core, 21 receptions, 198 yards. We actually only got outgained on the yardage by like 20 something yards. But it just goes to show in the game of football, especially at the professional level, it's not just that you get the yards, it's when you get them and how you get them. CD Lamb, 2 for 29. Pretty pathetic, if you ask me. And even and I can look at Scary Terry as an example. All the quarterbacks that he's went through, and he still performed. So there's no excuses for CD Lamb, who wants to be the alpha dog, who is said he's ready for this limelight. It's unacceptable anymore for any excuses. There's no reason for Noah Brown to have more catches and more yards than you if you're supposed to be this dominant player that you say you are. Moving on, 10 penalties for 73 yards. I mean, you continue to be one of the worst penalized teams in the league. And that is a direct extension of Mike McCarthy. What are you teaching? How are you drafting? This is just unacceptable at this point. At this point, you telling me that I could give, if we just looked at one drive, I could give you the ball at the 25 and you would pretty much only need a couple more yards to score based off of the penalties that you did in this game. It's not going to cut it. Moving on. Jason Peters will be back in a I'll say 2 weeks, maybe another week, and Michael Gallup will be back by the third game. From what I'm hearing, it's possible that Dak may be back sooner than later. Now, me and Lady A were talking about this off air, and I'm not so sure that that's a good thing if he's not going to be healthy. Listen, Dak is not the guy, and I've been saying that for years now. Now, I also was the guy who said when Romo got hurt in the preseason in Seattle that you needed to move forward with Dak because you just had to see what this guy had because you couldn't rely on Romo in his injuries at that point. Multiple back surgeries with disc fused and clavicle bones, all of those things, not disc, but clavicle bones, that stuff is not acceptable. So I don't think all is lost, only because my main premise from the beginning was not that we were world beaters. It was that we were the best of the least. Now, that's not looking true because, I mean, Philly put up 38, but they also gave up 35 to Detroit, the team that the Washington Commanders will be playing this week.
Right.
The Commanders didn't look – basically, there's still a small smidge of hope here if the defense can continue to go to the next level and play better, centered around Michael Parsons.
All right, that's about 5 minutes from you. Now let us ask some questions, man. I got some questions.
Listen,
we barely survived them 5 minutes, but I got some questions for you here.
That was some good stuff there, Sid. I mean, come on now.
Listen,
so eloquently spoken. This guy beside you. This guy beside you.
It was some good stuff in there.
You were spitting some fire there. You were spitting some fire. But I think for a second that Adam, and correct me if I'm right. Did he sound like he was about to cry for a little bit?
No, sir. No, sir.
Passionate. I give him that.
Don't cry over spilled Dak. Don't cry over spilled Dak.
And I'm knowledgeable. I watched the dang game, man.
You did. Don't cry over the spilled Dak though. Listen.
No way.
I've heard this too. Jason Peters will be playing sooner rather than later. Do you think that is because some of these other teams will be trying to take him off their practice squad, or do you think he's ready and y'all need him right now?
Well, I don't know anything about that as far as taking him off our practice squad, but it was always the plan to get him revved back up for 2 to 3 weeks. You know, he's 39 years old. He didn't play, he didn't go through OTAs and none of that. So it was always just about getting him prepared to step in. And the reality is you can never have enough good linemen. If you look at his run numbers, they aren't great. But if you look at his passing numbers, he's still one of the top guys in the league at left tackle. So he doesn't hurt you, but our first round pick, Tyler Smith, did not look bad at all last week. No penalties. So for the most penalized guy in FBS last year, that's a good showing. So there's still hope there. I mean, I think the long-term play would be to see if he's a better fit at guard than tackle based off of his characteristics. He's an aggressive, get in your face guy. He's not light and nimble on his feet like most left tackles.
So we're gonna push him back inside the guard.
Possibly. He may be good at tackle, but with Peters being there to step in, possibly at left tackle, you could slide him in at guard and it would be a little more natural.
Anybody got any questions for Ant or anything that he covered up real fast?
Hey, please.
No, I will say this. I mean, the penalties. You're right. The penalties do hurt. It takes yards away. It kills big plays. They're big plays, and they got to clean those up. If you can't clean those penalties, those penalties are drive killers. They're absolute drive killers. So they could be, I think he had one false start as we were jumping back and forth between games, and you guys were driving. It was a false start out there. I mean, out of the blue, and it just throwed everything off.
What about CD? CD pushing off on the biggest yard the game that he could have completed in the game would have been about 15, 20 yards, and he just shoves a guy. Learn the subtleties, my guy. Like, you had one of the best route runners in the game on your team. Learn the subtleties of how to play the position. Stop thinking this isn't Oklahoma. So
it's not Oklahoma.
You're gonna have to step it up.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Hold on. You had something else in there that I needed to talk to you about.
Please.
Yeah. Let me pull this back up right here. Champion turned mediocre franchise. Oh, you were not getting away with that one right there.
Listen. Oh no. This is, man. I keep telling y'all. For me, I am a fan, but I'm a realistic fan, and I see things for how they are. It's now, mind you guys haven't won a Super Bowl since the 70s, but nobody talks about that because there's no expectations.
That's not correct.
There's no. What was it?
Cowboy fans don't know numbers. They don't know numbers.
What year did y'all? When did
there were 2 in the 80s. Yeah. I mean, no, yeah.
We won 2 in the 80s. And
okay.
On 91.
Okay. Hey, that's news to me. I promise you, I didn't know that. I don't follow you guys.
2000.
You shouldn't have said it then. That's all.
No. You guys won a Super Bowl in 91.
Yes. Greatest team ever.
Who was the quarterback?
Mark Rippon. You know what? You got
I'm dead. This is news.
You're gonna go back and you're gonna watch the 91 Super Bowl.
No.
It is.
I'm not even being funny. Said I did not know. Hey, did y'all know that the Washington Redskins won a Super Bowl in the 90s?
You know what?
Did y'all know that the Washington Redskins won a Super Bowl in the 90s?
You know what? That's just disrespectful. That's just totally disrespectful, man. We're gonna. Hey,
I wouldn't know. I wish that y'all. I'm not being funny. I was wondering if it was news to me, like it was news to other people.
It wasn't news to other people. One of the greatest Super Bowl teams ever.
Says a Washington fan.
No, says the national media.
Thank you, Adam. Can you tell them again?
Well, between the offensive line, the posse of wide receiver, the defense, they were voted hands down top 3, and many said number 1 of all time. Not Redskins fans. It's just a fact.
but better than our best Super Bowl team.
Yes.
Knock it off.
If it says all time, that would mean
you gotta understand.
Emmitt Smith is overrated. I'll say that.
Knock it off, guys.
Most overrated player ever.
Hey, I have no dog in this fight, so I'm gonna sit back and watch.
Please knock it off.
And you gotta understand that team gave up single-digit sacks over a 17-game season. Single-digit sacks. He was only sacked 9 times. Our quarterback was sacked 9 times.
And he was not a good quarterback. He had a strong arm, but he couldn't move for shit. You know, he was the most. He had the most fumbles the year before of any other quarterback in history. The following year, when the line was healthy, nobody could touch him because the offensive line most dominant of all time, hands down. It's not. They're shipped out of the Hall of Fame because there's a lot of bias. But these guys, top to bottom, the best offensive line.
I don't have a dog. I don't have a dog in the Hall of Fame fight. But nobody talks about you guys.
Hey,
I'm not even being funny. Nobody talks about the 91 Washington Redskins.
You got a lot of homework to do tonight.
You think I would spend my nights researching Washington Redskins stats?
You got homework.
I'd rather drink
bleach. I'm going to ask you some questions on Saturday, and if you don't know the answers, you will not be participating.
Have bleach ready when you ask me those questions, sir.
Hey, listen, we are at our 15-minute mark. It is time for us to get into a little bit of, and that 5 minutes with Ant was terrible, but we're gonna bring it back next.
No,
next
it wasn't.
No,
it wasn't.
So it's time to play a little bit of who you got with placing bets and cash and checks. That's what we're about to do. We got 8. I'm gonna count them again. 8 college games for you to get ready to play. And make sure you go to Bet Rivers when you place your actions. Go to www.betrivers.com. You must be 21 years or older to play. Hey, let's start this up. In our first game that we have for you guys is Friday night. There's a little Friday night action right here. A little Friday night action. We have Florida State traveling to Louisville. This game here, Florida State is 2-0. Louisville is 1-1. Coming off of a good win last week. And Florida State, of course, is doing what Florida State does, taking on cupcakes and beating them down. Right, Duquettes? Look, she didn't even look. She was like, I'm not even answering that question.
But hold on, Pick. Hold on. You skip one crucial part.
Go ahead, put it up.
Yeah.
Put it up, Ant. Go ahead. Put it up. We got to find out.
Put up the records from last week.
Ant, come on, Ant. You got it?
I did terrible, so.
Ant, do you got it? Hey, say it. We going fishing? There it is. There it is right there. So Ant is leading. That? He's 15-9.
Look at the squeeze.
Closely.
I don't like that.
Hey, we coming at him. Followed closely by Said at what dang, Ant? He's followed closely by Said at 13-11. Lady A and ourselves, we're under 500, but this is where we catch up at right here. And we're gonna go we're gonna be perfect right here this week. So let's get into this. If you're worse, you go first. And that's me, but our guests always do go first. Let's talk about this game. I'm sorry. Right. Come on, graphics department. We have the spread at -2.5 for Florida State at -113. That is their win line. Louisville is +2.5 at +116 on their win line, with an over-under set at 57, -112 for the over, -109 for the under. And I inverted that. I apologize. No, I did not invert that. That just changed. So it's -112 for the over, -109 for the under. So those two numbers just flipped. Adam, who you got?
I have Florida State. It's close, but I think it's just the defensive line that Florida State brings. I think they're going to bring the pressure, facing, another dual threat quarterback. They haven't really been challenged yet, so I'm not looking at their pass games. I'm just looking, what I saw, the talent. And I think it'll be close. Could be a field goal game, but I think Florida State's defensive line takes it.
All right, so Louisville had me going bananas last Friday. I'm going to tell you that. Louisville played the Friday, and then Florida State played on Saturday. Louisville had me going bananas. These guys will tell you I was in our chat, and I was like, didn't I tell y'all Louisville was going to pull us out? Their quarterback is a monster. He's a dual threat. I'm sticking with Louisville. Give me Louisville on the win line. And you writing this down? Give me Louisville on the win line. That's the way I like it. Lady A.
Okay, it's too close for me. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Florida State. Money line.
Florida State money line. Gotcha. Say it.
Like Lady A, I'll say the same. I think this is going to be a true test for Florida State. Are they true or not? Them to get out there and see what they can do against a decent Louisville team. Give me Florida State on the win line as well.
Florida State on the win line. Hey, I smell chicken. Am I going to be Wilson? Am I about to be Wilson?
You absolutely are going to be Wilson. Give me Florida State -2.5. I don't know. I think they'll get it done, but I don't know. I think it'll be a hard-fought game. So give me -2.5, -113.
It sounds like a loss for all of y'all. Just call me Wilson. And when we say Wilson, we talking about Tom Hanks and what's that Stranded when he had the soccer ball with him. Give me Wilson. I am Wilson on this one right here. I'm good with that. Hey, I'm a man on the island. That's right. Our next game that we're bringing you, this is a 4:00 game. Is it 4? No, this is a 1:30 game East Coast time, 2:30 Central for us here. We got Penn State versus Auburn, two undefeated teams coming in here. Going into Auburn right now. Auburn goes into conference play next week. They haven't played anybody in their conference yet. Penn State has been battle tested. They've played a little bit more tougher competition when it comes to this one right here. Penn State is -3 at -112, -159 is their win line. The spread for Auburn is +3 at -109. And I'm checking to make sure this hasn't changed as well. Almost there. Ooh. Okay, this game is still good, and it's +128 on the win line for Auburn, and it's 113, 108. The over under at 47.5. At 47.5. Now listen, Penn State might not have a lot of weapons, but I think they got enough to beat Auburn. I think Auburn's been taking these two games. They're two warm-up games, and I think they're on an island thinking wrong here, but I'm not sure they got enough for Penn State. Penn State's defense is nasty. Penn State's defense can get after you, and I'm not sure if Auburn's offensive line is ready for what they're about to throw at them. Adam, how do you see this?
Yeah, like you said, with the defense, agree. But, throwing Sean Clifford, he's been solid. I think you bring him on the field. I don't think Auburn's the opportunistic kind of defense that's really going to force him, to have mental errors, fumbles, interceptions. So I think they have the play quarterback. The defense is solid. To me, no problem. I think they handle this easily.
Right. And you already know which way I'm leaning. Give me Penn State -3, Big Ten over SEC. One of the few times this happens. Lady A.
Auburn's playing home, right?
Auburn's at home.
So I think Penn State is still going to pull it out. It's not going to be easy. I'm just going Penn State money line.
Penn State money line.
I'm with Kyle.
Auburn has been in shambles for most of the year, or whatever the little scandal they got going on out there. They almost fired the head coach last week. Give me Penn State, who has played a couple tough games, so they should be ready to roll against Auburn. Defense is different, offense is different. This Penn State team should be well tuned up to play. Seeing that the head coach came from the SEC when he coached at Vanderbilt, so give me Penn State in that, and I'm gonna lay those 3 points.
Penn State laying the 3, and it's on you.
Okay, I'm going. You know what? I was gonna pick the spread, but I'm going. Screw the spread. I'll take the money.
Money line crab.
Yeah. Give me -159, man. I'll take the win straight up here.
The win straight up. Okay, so no Wilsons. We're all on the same side here. Nobody's jumping over the Auburn side right there. Watch Auburn mess around and get a victory, and all of us will be looking real silly.
Don't say that.
Hey, listen. Hey, stranger things have happened. Just say it go.
You like what you said.
Say it, we'll be back. Say it, we'll be back here. Okay. Let's get this next game we have, and I'm checking. We're good. Okay. We have Kansas at Houston. Houston, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to tell you, is not the team to play with. You got Kansas basketball school traveling down to Texas to take on Houston. I would say that Kansas has a shot here, but Kansas don't believe that Kansas has a shot here. The only thing that they do know is that Kansas is going to play this game. They're traveling down to Houston. Let's hope that they stay out of some of the adult establishments and they can focus on football and make this a competitive game.
You can forget
I really
about it.
don't believe that's going to happen, but it was a nice try by me. So, Adam, let me read this line, and then you go ahead and tell us. We got Kansas +9 at -109. Their win line is +235. We got Houston at -9, -112. That is a -315. The over-under set at 57.5. -113 and -108. That has changed as well. So those over-unders on those numbers on the over-under just changed. Adam, who you like?
I'm picking the upset. I like Jalen Daniels. He's a guy I just kind of started watching a little bit here and there. Was it just over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air, over 114 yards, all this in 2 games. So, that looks good on stats. Again, I'll admit I haven't watched there's not much film to go on right now, but I do like them to upset. Kansas's defense is suspect. That's where Houston could just like blow it open. But right. I think, again, against West Virginia, they put up 55 points, and that was impressive. So I think that they can probably get in a shootout and have a chance. But I'm going to take them with the points.
Okay. Hey, the question now is Adam going to be Wilson, a man on the island? We're going to find out. So listen, I like everything about this Houston team. I got them to win their conference. There are players all over the place to the point where I start looking for prop bets for players on this Houston team. So I'm actually going to lay the 9 because that 315 on the money line is just too much for me. I'm going to lay the 9 and pray that Kansas doesn't, find the end zone too many times here. And I'm not taking the ant because I'm doing straight bets. But if I was playing anything, I would play the over in this game as well. That's how confident I am on Houston. In Houston, I think they're just going to get after it, Lady A.
So to be clear, you are doing Houston spread.
Houston spread, yes, sir.
So when it comes to Kansas, I was impressed with that West Virginia game. However, I do feel that Houston is going to pull it out with the spread. So I'm going Houston to cover the spread.
Houston minus the 9. She's laying the 9. Say it. I just saw yours in the chat. You said Houston money line.
He's not doing nothing else. He just
315
money line.
Hey, just in case I couldn't get up in here.
Yeah.
Houston, the first game that Houston lost, they were in that game. And a few turns here and there, and they could have came out with they could be undefeated going into these two. The game could be more of a prime time game with them undefeated. But the guy who's the head coach came from West Virginia. So offensively, he knew how to get them boys to play. And after the first 2 games, he may have righted the ship. So it's going to be interesting to see this one play because it is in Houston. But I think they'll pull it out of Kansas.
I got you. Ant.
Yeah, I think Houston football and basketball is here to stay. They have developed into a really solid program overall. Maybe with some solid recruiting as they've continued to do, that they'll become something to really contend with here in a few years. But they got enough to beat Kansas. And it's funny, I forgot who was that. Was it Kyle? Who was that said, just when you'll think, Kansas is gonna step up and prove you're right, they'll screw it up. This could be a game where they could possibly right the ship, but I don't see it. Give me Houston money line.
Houston money line, another 315 for 100. Adam, I'm gonna say hello, Wilson. You're a man on an island. You're a man on an island.
Wilson?
Yeah, he is. Our next game, we have Liberty traveling to Wake Forest. Liberty's traveling to Wake Forest. Malik Willis is not there.
Yeah.
Malik Willis is not there, as you can tell by the spread. Even if Malik Willis was there and they're playing Wake Forest, Wake Forest is Jekyll and Hyde. You know what I mean? They are literally a Jekyll and Hyde team. You don't know what you're really going to get from them week in and week out. And Liberty, not a lot of consistent players, but really good players. And they have a nice head coach that knows how to coach players to get them to the league. Said has frozen again.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not asleep. He's
Stop
frozen.
playing, Sid.
Right.
He's frozen.
Why you always do this when you're next to me?
He's rolling his eyes.
He's frozen. All right. Okay. So what do we have here? Plus 16.5 for Liberty at minus 110. And their win line is 550. Plus 550 on their win line. For Wake Forest, we have minus 16.5 at minus 110 and minus 910. $910 to win $100 right here. And then you have their over under set at 63.5 at 110 both ways. And that is actually still standing. So with that being said, Adam.
I think this is easy. Yeah, I think Wake Forest covers.
Wake Forest covers by the pound. Ron O'Neal finally weighed in on that. Houston, he takes Houston -9. So, Adam, you are still a man on the island. Drew said Wake Forest minus the 16.5. You are absolutely right. Said Wake Forest money line. Are you putting $1,000 down? Said really to get $100? Come on, you got to stop going money line with these cake wins.
Say he going for the win. He going for the points.
Hey, okay. So listen, Bruce Glass says Wake Forest money line. Oh my God. Okay, listen. Lay the 16.5. It's pretty simple. I'm taking Wake Forest, laying the 16.5. I think they do whatever they want to Liberty. I think that Liberty just doesn't have the weapons to compete with Wake Forest. And I think Jekyll and Hyde just stays away this week. Lady A.
So I'm going to take Wake Forest with the spread, and I'll take the under.
Oh, she likes the under.
Yeah. I'm looking at Liberty in the last, let's say, about 8 games. You look at how many times they've been playing with other teams that have a winning record. They've been a little closer than people realize. So I'll go with the under.
I got you. I like it. She likes the under. Under 63.5. 63.5 is a lot of points. I appreciate it. And
I'm going with said. See, y'all want to catch me, but you can't catch a catcher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the money line minus 19.
Terrible game.
Hey, guess what? That's not more terribler than Wake Forest minus 16.5 and under. you just building in ways to lose at that point.
But if I win, then what?
Yeah,
you just get one win, 1 point.
All right, we got another one for you. We got South Florida at Florida. Now, Florida laid a stinker last week. Will they rebound? Will they play better? Will their quarterback come back down to earth, stop reading his press clippings? Because Adams was writing some good things about this kid. He was thinking about writing some good things about this kid at least, and then the kid went and wet the bed. Florida is the most talented school here. They're the more talented school here, and anybody that takes Florida money line, I'm immediately booting you off the show for at least 3 weeks, right? But Florida, South Florida, they have a couple of players here and there. This is one of those where we pay you to come in and take this beating, and we sharpen up for SEC play. That's pretty much what this game is. Plus 24.5 for South Florida at plus 113 is their win line. Plus 113 is their win line, okay? And then you have over-under set at 59.5, minus 110 both ways. For Florida, you have minus 24, minus 113, at minus 5,000. You hear me? Minus 5,000 to win $100. All right. So anybody takes Florida money line, you're getting kicked. All right, Adam, who you got?
I had, like I said, Richardson. This is the bounce back game. I think people got to give credit to Kentucky. Kentucky's a really good team, and they keyed on him early, and they had the game plan. I don't think South Florida has the depth to really do that. They can put somebody on him, but I think he'll outmuscle him. So yeah, the points a little high with the points, but I think Florida takes it definitely.
All right. So you just heard me say what I believe. So I got to lay the 24 points. I think Florida comes in and they have to bounce back. They have to go strong like they did when they came out. They cannot take the foot off the gas right here. They already down one in the SEC. Lady A.
Florida money line.
Oh, y'all, you thought I was joking. She thought I was joking.
I'm joking. I'm going to take Florida with the spread. I feel like that's pretty obvious.
All right. Florida with the spread. Say it.
Yeah, excuse me. My tablet died. Yeah, I hate to say these. I hate for these words to roll off my lips. It's kind of like Washington Cowboy in Washington. Florida, Georgia.
Right.
I'm allowed to pick South Florida just for the 24. No, give me the Gators, man, laying at 24.
The Gators laying at 24 at.
Okay, so I guess I'm the only one that pays attention. I mean, Florida's not been world beaters this season.
They have not. You are.
They almost lost a very pivotal game if it wasn't for some poor calls. I don't see. Let me break something down. First string roster, and as we shout out to the Hawk TV for that. He said first string roster, aka the chat. I was a man held by my conviction that said take Texas plus 20 against Alabama.
Yeah, you
Well,
did.
guess who was Wilson in that game?
You were Wilson.
And I won.
Yeah.
They should have won the game, actually.
Do it again.
I'm going to do it again.
Do it again.
South Florida plus 24. Like,
South Florida plus
let's stop
24.
acting like this isn't college football and like these guys can't wet the bed.
They can't. They can't.
I tried South Florida a couple of weeks ago, man.
No, don't listen. That's fine.
I'm just saying.
They said they disappointed him.
Hey, they took somebody down to the wire too. What was that? Week 1 or 2?
Not in the first game they didn't.
Listen, we've heard
this game. Who said they were picking this game?
Hold on. Yes, I did, but hold on. Let me show y'all something. Hey, Pig. Just calm down, okay? Just relax a little bit, bud. Okay.
I can't wait.
Just breathe.
Just know that my fingers will be. I will be like this. And Wilson, you're dead.
Listen, it's not like picking the Dookies or anything.
Come on, let's go.
He's so shady today.
So he has. You got South Florida and the 24. We got you. Now let's get to a little bit more of a competitive game here. We have Michigan State traveling out west to take on the Washington Huskies. All right. This right here, you talking about, hey, you want to step your resume up. They're warming themselves up for Big Ten play here. The Huskies are warming themselves up for Pac-12 play. These are teams that are like, hey, to get ready for our division, we might as well play a heavyweight at the right time. We had our little warm-ups. Now it's time to step our game up right here. You got Michigan State plus 3.5 heading out west at minus 113 at plus 130 on the money line. You got the Washington Huskies here at minus 3.5 at minus 108. And their win line is minus 159. The over-under set at 56.5 at 113 on top and 113 for the 109 for the under. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I like the coach for Michigan State. Mel Blount knows how to get a team ready. He knows how to prepare his team to be on the road. And most importantly, you bring your running game and you bring your defense to play. I'm not sure if this Pac-12 team is ready to go with these Big Ten offensive linemen and defensive linemen. That's how I see it. Adam, who you got?
Exactly on the same page with you, man. Word for word, I agree. I think it could definitely go either way, depending on, injury here, injury there. But now I'm with you 100%.
All right. So it sounds like he likes Michigan State. And me, I'm taking Michigan State on the money line right here. Give me that plus 130. Lady A, who you got?
So I'm going to take Washington with the spread.
Washington laying the 3.5. Okay. Yep. Said just...
I don't know what he's doing.
What is Sam doing? There he goes. Say it.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix it right quick at the same time. Give me Michigan State as well in that spread. Michigan, I think Mel Blount has done a great job out there, and I think he has enough talent still, even after those guys left last year, to compete. So yeah, give me Mel Blount in that 3.5.
Mel Blount plus the 3.5. And who you got?
So, I am not super familiar on this one, so I am going to lean heavily to one side. Now, I rolled with Lady A before; she didn't steer me wrong, but I don't know here, guys. I got a lot on the line of State of Big Dog. I'm trying to leave from wire to wire like Secretariat or something. You know what I'm saying? Give me Michigan State plus 3.5. Maybe it's a close game. Even if Washington wins, I still win. Let me just go do that.
All right. So, Lady A,
I'm by myself.
You are Wilson. Hello,
I'm by
Wilson.
myself.
Wilson.
She's a woman on an island.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right.
She's had to do it to herself a lot this season.
Hey, sometimes it works though.
Sometimes it works, but until it doesn't. Okay. Our next game here is one of my favorite teams that I always like looking at. Okay. University of Texas, San Antonio. I love looking at this team. They are great in conference, and sometimes they jump up and surprise a big boy, right? Now, University of San Antonio is plus 12 and a half at plus 380. Their win total of the over under set at 60 and a half, 112 for the over, 109 for the under. Texas coming off a close game versus Alabama, close game with Alabama. Quarterback down, first round quarterback, first string quarterback's down, second string quarterback is hobbled. Is this a letdown game? Their line is minus 12 and a half at minus 530. And we already just covered the over-unders. Adam, who you got?
I think Texas with the spread. I think they are going to start that redshirt freshman, and I can't. The name's escaping me right now. But I was talking to somebody earlier. I'm a Longhorns fan, and they were like, "Nah, this kid's going to surprise a lot of people." So that's not that. That's enough points. I think that all around they just have a better team.
All around they have a better team. Listen. I told you guys about University of Texas San Antonio, and it would be wrong for me to hop off that bandwagon right now. I'm telling you right now, give me the University of San Antonio plus the 380. This could be that letdown game. They were really, really emotional versus Alabama, and for them to come so close and lose the way that they did, let's see if they can recover this year or this week. And for my sake, let's hope not. Lady A.
So I looked a little deeper into your favorite team, and they've actually covered the spread 9 times out of 14 games last year. So I'm going to go ahead and go with University of Texas San Antonio, and I'm going to go with the spread.
You're going Texas San Antonio plus the 12 and a half. Not a bad pick, but I had to show a little faith in hopping on that money line. It may come back to bite me, but say it.
Man, they barely got past Army last week. Are you serious? Y'all watched the same game I watched?
I did. And I was mad too. It messed up my money.
Give me that 12 and a half is a big number for UT to have two bad quarterbacks at 12 and a half. I think UT is going to win this game, but that 12 and a half. Man, that 12 and a half is a monster.
Just do it, say
it's going to be money line.
I knew it.
Money line like all the games.
Killing me with these money lines.
I'm trying to be lead dog. I'm closing in. The pressure's on it. Oh man, we done lost Ant.
No, Ant is here.
No, he's still there.
The pressure's on who? Yeah, right.
Liz gonna get real short at the top.
Let's go.
Fine on the mode.
We on the clock. We have 42 after.
Don't worry about it. Hey, give me UTSA plus 12 and a half. I think even if the rookie shows up big, he better be Heisman good to blow him out. I think UTSA will do enough to keep it close. It'll be a scare, but not a scare because this UTSA has been playing pretty tough. So that's where I'm going since we're on the clock. Now, the pick, I want to tell you that I picked this game, his favorite game. I picked this one. He wanted to point out that he ain't like the South Florida pick. He loved this
that game. Right. I hate that game. It's just too one-sided. It's too. I was like, look. Oh, nice catch. Oh my goodness. Mike Williams. I missed he was getting that end zone. Okay.
He's finally healthy, huh?
Last game. This is last game right here, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I cannot wait for this game to be played. I'm gonna have my popcorn ready. Miami versus Texas A&M. Miami's plus 6 at minus 108 at plus 180. Texas A&M coming off of a loss at home. They are minus 6, minus 113, and minus 225. Minus 225. The over under set at 44 and a half right here. 108 for the over, 113 for the under. I'm just gonna get right into this right here. I believe that both of these teams are coming in upset, wanting to improve their status and wanting to prove that they are ready to compete with the big boys. That's all I'm gonna say. Set your TVs, get ready. This is gonna be the game of the day right here. Adam, who you got?
I got Miami. I like Van Dyke. He's gonna have one of his best games, and yeah, I am.
Miami, got you. All right, for me, same thing. Give me Miami plus the 6 right here. Give Miami plus the 6. All right. And with 44.5 being the over under, can I put another bet in? I will at the window. It will be a straight bet. So that's Miami plus the 6, and then another bet that will be over the 45.5.
Let me guess, you're not putting that here.
No, I'm not putting that here. I'm just telling you.
Hey, said, can you get this guy for crying out loud?
Lady A. I'm just telling you how I like my place. Lady A.
I'm gonna just go with Texas A&M with money line though.
Texas A&M money line. Say it.
A&M's quarterback is garbage. So unless he changed back to the dude that did it last year, oh wait, he's gone. He can't. He transferred because him and the head coach got into it. This is Miami this is Crystal Ball trying to say Miami's for real. You know what? Give me the U and trying to be real. And I'm in that spread. Give me the U on the spread.
The U in the spread plus the 6. Ant, go ahead. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm not believing in Texas A&M whatsoever, and that's sad because I picked them to make the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
See how I own that, Lady A? You see how I own that? And I roll with the team until they show beyond a shadow of a doubt it don't work.
I own mine.
This is not a good team. I think this will be one of their many losses this season. So give me Miami spread plus the 6.
All right, Miami plus the 6. That's how we see college football shaking out this weekend. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, go ahead, set your DVRs. You know we're gonna have a good one going down this week. A lot of good games this week. We getting into conference play real soon, so they starting to get their big boy pads and everything going. All right, now it's time to focus on why everybody's here. It's time to focus on the Washington Commanders. All right, they are playing the Detroit Lions this week. The Detroit Lions gave up a ton of yards last week. They was giving it up like it was going out of style. Jalen Hurts did what he wanted to, but Devontae Smith went for his first game with no catch. Yeah, he had 0 catches. Devontae Smith had 0 catches, but their newly acquired A.J. Brown ate like a fat kid. He was like, hey, we serving up cake back here in this secondary, and he just kept eating and kept eating and kept eating. Deontay Swift, monster game, hasn't practiced the last 2 days, rolled his ankle late in the game, but 100-plus yards. They have another running back on their depth chart, and Jamal Williams, who's also a monster. Their offense can put up points. They put up 35, and that's behind their quarterback, Jared Goff. Don't forget, Jared Goff is not just a scrub quarterback. Jared Goff is a Super Bowl participant in, with the Los Angeles Rams, right? He did take a team to the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't bring up that. They
just needed Matthew Stafford to get them over the hump, and that's all they needed was a better quarterback to get them over the hump. Amon St. Brown is a monster at wide receiver, and DJ Chalk is another 6'4" wide receiver that they have. Their offense, Adam, what do you see from Detroit's offense, man?
Yeah, Hawkinson. That's the one that I watched the game again today. He's the one that I think Washington will have a problem with because our linebacker just not right there. They don't match up with someone like him. So yeah, I think Detroit can score some points. But as far as their receivers, with Swift, even if he does play, I don't think he's going to be quite as explosive. I think you will see a lot more Williams. But from what I'm seeing, Williams, he's more of their short yardage, red zone back. So I'm not sure he's ready to carry the load, and I think Washington's defensive line is not going to be gashed. I really don't. I think they've been playing steady enough. But I just don't see that Detroit can really match Washington's wide receivers. Jeff Okudah, that dude's a stud, but they need 2 or 3 more of them. That's the problem. And I'm not on the bandwagon. I've loved Dotson coming out. Everybody was talking about Olavi, but I love Dotson because Dotson was with a very mediocre Penn State team and constantly bailed out his quarterback. You see with his catches, that's that last touchdown catch. That wouldn't have been made by many veterans. That was an excellent catch. It's not just about the 2 touchdown catches. It's how he did it. So I just don't think Detroit, as far as the points, I think Philadelphia actually got a little conservative and, because they got up big. And so I saw them really, take off the gas and really give up a lot of yards to Detroit. But I think Washington, if they play, consistently apply pressure, that 5-man front will definitely be effective against Detroit because even if they have Ragnow, their center, which, very underrated guy, they're saying he could, there's 2 or 3 starting offensive line that are probably going to play. But if they do, they're pretty banged up. So I think, Washington's heading into a good situation, even though Allen, he's a guy that I'm watching with that groin because, anybody who's had a groin muscle strain like I have, it's very painful. I can't imagine playing football on it. But, they brought that guy in Jeter. I think we'll see him sooner rather than later. I took an 8-game dive on him, and I think he'll be in the rotation because right now, releasing Settle and Ioannidis, this is the kind of game with Swift that scares me as, trap game. But I think for once, this is a Washington team that if they have to score 35 points to win, they can do it.
And Wes Schweitzer didn't practice for us today. Jonathan Allen was limited participant growing. Cam Curl, limited participant thumb. Jamin Davis did not practice, non-injury related, limited participant, and it's personal. Trey Turner, quad, limited participant, and Cole Turner, full participant.
Mm-hmm.
Watch out for him.
Watch out for him.
Because Goddard destroyed them. Goddard, he gashed him. We've got a couple guys. I think Thomas, Thomas is going to look a lot better this week. I think he shook off a lot of that rust. So between Thomas and, we even saw Rodgers, the converted quarterback. He had I think he was measured after that one catch he had as one of the fastest runs in the NFL that weekend, which was shocking. So, you've got a lot of weapons at tight end that they can roll in and out. I think Detroit will have a problem with that, even if they, try to get a hold on the receivers.
All right. So I got to go ahead. Go.
I just had a question. Is Cameron Curl still out with his widow thumb?
He had a limited practice.
Oh gosh, come on, man!
So they're not
get on the field or you lose your job, you bum.
Oh my God!
D Forrester was out there balling. So you better come on. I'm being serious.
So listen. So
see how quickly things can change.
We play Buffalo. They'll be in 60-70% of the time anyways.
Exactly. That's where I was going, was what do you do when we put both of them on the field? Because that improves the secondary, because Washington had a terrible time last week with crossing routes. But when you put DeForest on the field and Cameron Curl on the field, that way you can get Jamin Davis out of covering a tight end. Yeah. And Ron Rivera mentioned this in his press conference. He says we can't put Jamin in those situations, where I think it's just my thought process here is they want Jamin Davis to add on to the rush. They want Jamin Davis covering running backs out of the backfield. And Travis Etienne, I don't care what Corey on the Warpath said, Travis Etienne was the fastest person on the field last week when he was on the field. I don't care.
He's just got to get live action back on. That's all that is. He'll be good. Like Doc was saying, you watch that team mid-season, they'll be in better form for sure.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on DeForest and Cameron Curl being on the field there, Adam?
Yeah, I wrote about it. It was all perfect timing for me. I dropped an article on Derek Forrest the morning of that game, and I just saw, he was a great mentor to Sauce Gardner, who we all know how he played, and I just knew if Forrest could get into the right position, you take away that penalty, which is a Bush League penalty, because that running back lowered his helmet, and Forrest got the the crap end of it with the penalty. But that's one of the best games I've seen from a guy who's hasn't seen the field for Washington or since he's been here. But I expected more special teams contributions. I think we heard Ron Rivera really speaking him up, but doing the same thing with Percy Butler. So I wasn't really sure if he'd bring it, but I think we saw from Forrest now it's gonna be hard to bring him off the field, because I think McCain right now, he's not my favorite for free safety. Best case scenario, I think Percy Butler ultimately could become that free safety, because I think if you have him, Forrest, and Curl, that's dangerous. And like you said, you can get a linebacker off the field, or you can put him in the rush and take one of those guys out. But they're going to do a lot of 5-man fronts, and they're going to do a lot of Buffalo nickel this week. So that's I think that if Cameron Curl comes in, we've seen guys for, over the years, with the small hand cast, granted it's hard to catch the ball, but as far as, rotated in and out, as far as, deep cover, playing at the line, I think Curl will be just fine. That guy is the most underrated safety in this league right now. And I think him at 75% or whatever it is, I think you got to get him out there.
Talk to me about Butler.
Yeah. This is a guy I did a deep dive coming in. He's not a guy that you really want to have close to the line. It's not that he's not a good tackler. He's a willing tackler, but he does whiff. He can take bad angles with the run game. You just got to keep him back. I like him back. Anytime they're playing zone shells, I think that he's a guy that if they try to go long, he needs some support. And that's the benefit of having that Buffalo nickel, because we saw with the defensive line, for finally they're starting to play off each other. John Allen, right. Deron Payne are crossing. That's communication right there. I think when Percy Butler gets that with Curl, and that's another reason Curl needs to be on the field, because when they can get all that going, I think that's when he can be a consistent guy. I think for now we'll see him get rotated in, but ultimately, he's that true deep cover safety, free safety that Washington's been needing.
Lady A.
I actually have a question for you. The offense, they're starting to use, a lot of these rookies, which we're happy about. But what do you think about Terry? Do you think that they're utilizing Terry the way that they should right now?
I think they got to just keep, moving the ball around, spreading it around. I think the best way that they can have success is not just focusing on getting him the ball all the time. It's getting the ball to whoever's open. I think that's the best course of action with him. You saw he just he'll be quiet and then he'll blow it open. But I think right now, having Samuel healthy, this is the biggest surprise so far for, I think, a lot of fans. If you can have him contribute the way he did and then Dotson do what he did, somebody else is going to step up. Gibson, I can't wait till Robinson comes back, because I think when Robinson comes back, you really can get Gibson more than just, using him as a safety blanket. But he did it great. But I think that with, everything they have right now, Terry, he'll still get his 1,000 yards, 8 to 10 touchdowns. But again, Wentz is going to have to spread the ball around. And I just think that teams start to key on McLaurin, they're going to have a problem, because I think Dotson, I think a lot of people were focused on his size coming out and just thought, can he be durable? This is a guy that I think he's showing some of the best hands of any rookie right now. I liked him over the Atlanta rookie, out of USC. I liked him over Chris Olave. I just think I don't know about once a generational kind of guy, but I think he's the perfect guy to complement Terry McLaurin right now. Play outside, play inside. So right now, Terry McLaurin they don't have to worry about, getting him, getting creative with him. I love the idea of just getting him out and go routes, getting him on crossers, slants. But right now they're in a good position. If they have a game where they don't get him the ball too much, I think Washington can still win. That's the difference from years past.
Right. Say it.
Now, you said quite a few good things about the defense. But it's the same defense that had Jacksonville in position to score 3 touchdowns in the game. Y'all talking about going to a Buffalo nickel. They're going to put 2 tight ends on the field. At that point, you're at a disadvantage. You know what I'm saying? The problem is the defensive line. If this defensive line is not doing what it's supposed to, applying pressure from both sides and not just the side the sweat is coming off of, it's not going to do you any good. And you already lost one person in the middle. Did old boy did tear his pec, right?
No, not for us. Not for us. We didn't lose anybody.
What was the dude? He didn't get caught off. He walked off the field, but he got hurt in like third quarter.
You talking about? Oh, that's a knee. That's an MCL. That's
okay.
Yeah. But we brought in.
You lost. I mean, I ain't saying he lost because I haven't seen a report on him yet. But that's another body on the defensive line. Because granted, y'all can go to Buffalo. You can bring Cam Curl in, but the defensive line didn't do anything to slow down Jacksonville. Jacksonville slowed down Jacksonville. Now we on to Detroit. Detroit is supposed to have a better offensive line than Jacksonville. You know what I'm saying? Because the head coach is an offensive line coach. So he has coached some guys up to do just that. Go ahead.
They're not healthy. I agree with you about the better offensive line. They're not healthy, though. 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen have been, I think, either limited all week. And, with their center, the center is the biggest on Ragnow. He's the one I'm watching. Again, okay. Depth is a major issue. You're talking about, Allen and Payne continuously going to have to play, 90% plus the snaps. But I think they're used to doing that. The depth is an issue. If they have to get challenged, that's going to be a major problem, because Swift, even if Swift is 70% and, still having the ankle issues, I think he's hard to deal with. So I think they have to be at full strength. And, You know, we saw Scott Turner. We saw the RPO. We saw the innovation that, you know, he's been doing it, but he finally broke it out. Jack Del Rio, he's got to do a lot more. I think against Detroit, you got to see a lot more pressure than they did against Jacksonville, because Lawrence, although he's not known for it, you know, he can get out of the pocket and he can get some yards for you. I'm not really concerned with the same thing with Jared Goff. So I think, you know, you bring the pressure, you bring it early.
Do you want to give this injury report for Detroit, Lady A?
Oh, sure. So as far as the Detroit Lions, of course, we don't have the status for the game, but we can see who practiced, who did not. We have Michael Brockers, who did not practice at all. Taylor Decker did not practice.
Starting tackle. Yeah. And they have Tommy Kramer. We talked about this a little before the show. They have him listed as a back, but I'm not sure. What was he before? What did they have them playing? Guard. But his back, yeah.
Right. And so he didn't practice either. Frank Ragnow, their center, is out with a groin and foot injury.
Yep. Starting center.
And then DeAndre Swift, we just spoke of him. Their running back out with an ankle injury, so he did not practice. Jonah Jackson, their guard, with a finger injury. He had limited practice.
Tape it up.
Yep.
Right. I know Ant probably has some words on that with the finger injury. I cannot say this gentleman's name, so I'm
the safety. Hey, it's a
said laugh at me because I don't think I don't want to screw it up.
Say it. This name is the worst name ever. Listen, it would take me like 3 months to practice this name.
There's
safety. I still would not get it right. I can't even type it correctly. So
I think the last name is Melifonwu.
There it is, right there in the chat.
Very good.
There it is, because I'm not saying that.
Melifonwu. Their safety out with a hamstring, limited practice, and then Julian Okwara, linebacker, hamstring. He actually did a full practice. So
Go Caps is laughing at me. Yeah, man, I'm not saying that name. No, you're not gonna get me to embarrass myself.
Is that DC public school?
Listen, I put things down phonetically. I phonetically do these things. And, no, I'm not doing that. Man, I will not make Mrs. Wyatt mad.
She said, "Oh, wait a minute."
That's my fifth grade. That's my fifth grade teacher, Miss Wyatt. I'm not putting her.
That's where the learning stopped, huh?
Hey, no. Miss Wyatt was an excellent teacher, man. She gets my thumbs up. She's my teacher. If I ever make it big, Miss Wyatt will be rich forever.
When you make it big, you'll be able to throw her a couple dollars to go in her fund.
If she's still alive.
Nursing home.
That's right.
Well, I just hope I didn't mess up those names. That's all. I just don't want to be offensive, you know.
Right.
So listen. Saying Jared Goff played in the Super Bowl, that's about as significant as saying y'all won in 91. It doesn't matter. Seriously. Man. Jared Goff is not relevant, okay? And he's not that quarterback. We know that. We saw this guy last week. Me and said we're picking this guy apart. Like, he literally cannot make consistent open throws.
Right.
But then all of a sudden he'll kick it in and he'll start being a little consistent. It's the weirdest thing. This game will be won by them if they can run the ball consistently and get timely stops. Going back to what Lady A said earlier, listen, y'all have the best problem. How many guys do you have that can catch a ball at a given time? Like, that's the best problem to have. You got a couple of tight ends you can run out of the backfield. Plus you got McKissick. Plus you got Gibson. You guys got a lot of great problems right now. And as long as you guys are winning, and as long as the person that the ball's getting the ball is actually scoring and getting chunk yards, you're never going to have a problem. But if y'all have one more lineman injury possibly, then it can be some problems.
Agree.
Right.
And so my question was going to be for you, sir, is what did you think of the linebacker play? Because that was one of the things that going into the season, looking at the roster, you're like, this could be a problem. And how do you see it playing a factor against this particular team?
Yeah, it's a concern because Swift said, I just saw a tweet, he's going to play. He said no matter what, he's going to play. And I think, Holcomb is already shaken up. So our Mike linebacker is already shaken up. And I think he's going to be the one that's going to get the majority of snaps out of all the linebackers. And it is a significant concern because he's also going to be tasked with, probably, dropping down on Hockenson. And I don't think he can cover him. So that's probably my number one matchup concern of the game is Hockenson versus our linebackers.
Which would still be a middle of the field issue.
Yeah.
Because that was the problem last week. He had every crossing route. He literally just missed on them. That's the only reason that he didn't complete them, which that's a whole nother issue. I mean, we're moving on. I think it's even – no, seriously.
I didn't say that, man.
I'm like, listen, the middle of the field I think will be there, but I think when you go to Detroit's side of the ball, Goff's going to give him one. You guys are going to get one. I promise you. You're going to get a pick out of him, if not more. So I think that'll probably be one of the deciding factors, who can get more turnovers. Because even if you want to say the Eagles let off the gas, they still put up 35 points.
Right.
And a certain team didn't score 8 touchdowns. So, I can't dispute that the Houston Texans, the Detroit Lions, the Jacksonville Jaguars are way better than what we thought that they would be coming in. But, I'm just a Cowboy fan, so what can I say?
That's right. Sit in the corner. Hey, so with what Ant said, how many do you think Jared Goff gives up? How can they trick Jared Goff into giving us a pick 6 and they're giving us a interception? How many do we get, Adam? What do they need to do?
I think I was looking at Daron Payne and Sweat's pressures. I would think Daron Payne would overall what pressures, tip balls like the most in Washington defensive line in the last 30 years or something it was. And I think that's going to be the difference. Those are going to turn into strips. So I think I'm expecting not an interception because I'm just not that confident in the DBs right now, but I think there's going to be 2 strip sacks. I think Montez Sweat gets 1 and I think Daron Payne gets another. That's going to be 2. And I think that's going to be enough for Washington, to have at least, a touchdown win.
Okay. At least a touchdown win. And okay. So who is your hero of this game, Adam?
I think it's going to be Montez Sweat. This is a guy I've been pounding the table for. He just gets so close every time. He's led the team in pressures for 2 straight years or whatever it is. And I think finally, this is the game he gets to, Jared Goff, I think that's a good situation, tall target, can't get under Montez Sweat's pads. I think this is a game where, he just goes crazy. He has a strip sack and I have him with 2 passes defended. I just think it's going to be an excellent game for Montez.
Also, Vic, you don't have to do anything. He will willingly throw in there. We're watching him just make stupid throws. Guys are open and he's missing them. I think it's just a part of his DNA. I mean, it's the reason why they had to go in a different direction. That's why that trade makes all the sense in the world. And it shows that they really were just a quarterback away, even with the additions that they made.
So tell us about Amon St. Brown real fast. But before you do that, Go Caps here says Donovan Jeter. Is he good?
Yeah, check out my article at the Burgundy and Gold Report.com. I got an 8-game evaluation on him. You judge for yourself. I got the pros and cons. He was a rotational body over there. Had some good special teams plays on the line, but he's a rotational guy. But yeah, I detailed all of it at the Burgundy and Gold Report.com.
And that is how you push your product right there. See, you direct them right to the Burgundy and Gold Report.com. Great. Amon St. Brown. So let us know about Amon St. Brown. Who should we put on this guy? Because both of our corners have been toast.
Yeah.
Who should we put on this guy?
Man, I think WJ3 is probably the best matchup for him. But I think, you got to get a little more physical. We saw when he was in Cincinnati, he was used more in the press. They're saying with Washington, they want to slowly get to more press. That's why they like, St. Juice in that slot because he's got those long arms and hopefully they can start to do it and not play a lot of the cover shells all the time. But I think that's what they got to do. I think Fuller on him, but man, Fuller, he's not looking the same. I don't know. It's early on and sometimes it's those first game jitters, but yeah, I think that's the matchup.
Yeah.
All right. Next question for you is coming from Lady A.
You said Lady A?
Lady A.
Thank you. So we had about 6 penalties, 63 yards. Out of those 6, 5 came from first, resulted in first downs. What is the conversation that needs to be had with this team to attack that? Because 63 yards is a lot.
Yeah, a large chunk of it was that Forrest play, that unnecessary roughness, that helmet hit. But yeah, they're just too handsy. They have to mirror the receivers better. They have to just make better judgments and jump the ball. But they're just holding too much. But again, I think if you look around the league, the first week there's a lot of holding, pass interference, illegal contact penalties. I think that they get that more in check this week.
Okay.
Say it. Oh my God, Kelsey's sick.
Kelsey's still gonna play. Don't believe the hype on that one. Again, oh yeah, I was about to say. Defensively, still, how much of a zone do you think they're gonna stay in after what happened last week?
I think you can definitely do it with Detroit. I think, we talk about Hawkinson, they have to key on him because, Amon St. Brown, DJ Shark, these guys aren't world beaters. I think that, the Jacksonville receivers were really good as well. But I think you have to get physical with them. So I think that they're going to probably go in a lot of bail coverage. I think that they could show a lot of looks like they're going to be aggressive early on and not, always the cushion that fans are going crazy about. But you got to understand a lot of times why they do that is they're hoping to jump routes. They're hoping to, get a step on those crossers. But yeah, man, they have a lot. They have a lot to clean up. Jack Del Rio, it's funny that Jamin Davis is the hardest he was on because, man, I saw it from the corners. I saw a lot of bad judgment, by the corners rather than Davis. I think Davis actually had an okay game. But I think as a group collectively, they just have to be on the same page. I think some of it had to do with Cam Curl being out. A lot of it had to do with Holcomb's, this is not his first game calling signals, but, I'm still waiting to see if he's going to be that guy in the role because, it's underrated how much responsibility that the Mike linebacker has for the entire, entire linebacker core and then everything behind him. With Curl out, he had to do a lot more that game. So that's what I mean about having Curl in. He's not going to, probably, be anywhere close to 80%, with his thumb injury. But I think having him back there is going to help the communication a lot. Therefore, there's a lot less hands and a lot less grabbing going on.
Okay.
So there was a big lull from the offense at a certain point. And, they picked it up later, of course, and they kind of had some back and forth going. Do you attribute that just to being the first game of the season and they're working out the kinks? Or was there something specifically that you saw that they need to kind of work on, whether that's, Carson with progressions or, people not knowing their assignments? What did you see in that?
One thing that I saw that was concerning with Carson Wentz is him staring down receivers. A couple times, it worked out for him, but he's not going to keep getting away with that against a better team. So that was the big one that I saw. I like the RPO, but I think when they started to get a little, shaky, I think he started pulling it in and let him, he started just handing it off. And I think there was a couple opportunities that I saw that he had his guys wide open and he should have just pulled it back in and thrown it downfield. So I think he has to get better with his decisions, stop staring down the receivers. Scott Turner, I think he opened it up. I think he finally has the talent where he can actually open it up. So I think he's going to put more on Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz doesn't want to run as much as he did in that game. He's not at his best when he's doing that. He's at his best if he can just throw it from the pocket. But I think he just really has to go through his progressions a little better. And just just take his time. Because I think this line, they'll give him a little bit of time right now, like you said, as long as they stay healthy. But I think he just has to go through his progressions. And he looked for the check down a lot. That was a little concerning because I don't think, looking at the film, Jacksonville didn't lock up the receivers. There was always one or two open. So I think he went to the check down a little too early. So I think, that was good for Antonio Gibson, but, he broke a lot of tackles and took a lot of good angles. So I think this week, more check downs, that they're not going to result in the same, scenario Jacksonville. I think it'll be harder to get yards after contact against Detroit.
With 7 years in, it's a little bit concerning that you're saying he's still staring down wide receivers.
Yeah.
Most elite quarterbacks like Justin Jefferson, he manipulates safeties like it's no big deal. Like he'll keep that safety right in the middle of the field knowing he's throwing a deep out. how does he get better at this? And why are the coaches not harping on this and keeping that bar straight in the middle of the field? And where your guy's going to be.
Oh, I bet they are. Scott Turner, I'll give, the genius label people give him, I think it's a little too far, but the guy's been around football his whole life. And one thing I'm sure is he's turning on that film and he's like, Carson, you can't stare him down. We play against some of the better DBs, that's going to be a pick six. Someone's going to jump that route. And that's going to be it. So I think this is just film study. I think this is really getting used to his guys, because one thing that's hard to get that I learned from evaluation is it's not always about the quarterback. It might look like that receiver ran like a crisp route, but he could have run the wrong route. And again, we have rookies in there. We have new guys at the position at tight end as well. So I think that has to be in consideration. Like he might have thought something was there, but that second interception, man, that was just a hell of a play by Walker. I won't put that on Wentz. I just won't. That first one, I definitely will. But, I think he's got to learn from that situation with, these athletic pass rushers. He's got to give a pump fake right there, turn around or something like that. He's got to really show a little more improvisation. But I think Turner, with the implementation of the RPO, I want to see a lot more of that, because I think with Gibson, man, he's a great back to do that with, because you don't even have to give him a check down. You do that RPO, pull it back in. You can send all go routes on that. So I think that they should just really open it up against Detroit and just force Detroit to try to cover them. Try to cover that in the middle of the field, and then just open up the run game. So I think you just attack them.
All right. So now I got to ask you about the number 2 pick in the draft. Since we already talked about the number 1 pick and how freakishly athletic he is, now we got Aiden Hutchinson coming in this week, the number 2 pick in the draft. So we had the worst and second worst team. Both of them went defensive line. Aiden Hutchinson, how special was this guy? And what do we got to do to slow him down?
Yeah, he's really good. We got to chip him. They have to do some extra on him, because Walker's strong as hell. We saw he put I think it was Norwell on his butt when he tried to come over and give him a double team. So, Hutchinson's even stronger from what I'm understanding. So I think that they really got to, key on in him. If you're going to run at him, you better really have your shit together, because I think that, against the run, against the pass, Hutchinson, he's really good. So what can they do? Man, I don't know. I think, like I said, the only thing I can really see right now is, put a tight end over him, a chip, whatever you can do to probably just, slow him off, get him off that pass rushing lane.
And it looks like Detroit plays a lot of Buffalo nickel, just like we do. It's like they call it, 2 corners on the field, Jeff Okudah, and then the other corner is, I'm not saying that name either. And then they have their safety, Mike Hughes, their third nickel corner on the field. Which one of these guys is we're coming at you, and we all know Jeff Okudah is the guy we're staying away from, but who is that guy that we're targeting this week?
And they're actually pretty good. I don't know if you're going to target anyone specific, but like I said, if you're going to go to Okudah, man, that's going to be a tough go every time. But I think he'll be on McLaurin a lot. They're very familiar with each other, so he'll be on McLaurin a lot. Will he travel? I'm not sure, but again, with Washington, it's going to be pick your poison. So I think that it's just going to be whoever gets open. I don't think they're going to key on anyone, attack anyone, but Rodrigo, man, I'd like to see Gibson go straight at him. That's what I'm looking for.
So you do know that Curtis Samuels, Jeff Okudah, and Terry, and don't forget Jahan Dotson played against Jeff Okudah as well. So he's played against he's practiced against 2, right? And he's played against Jahan Dotson. Matter of fact, Jahan Dotson, I believe that one-handed catch was on Jeff Okudah.
It was.
Why do you find such hope in these things? I don't think it matters when we get the live action. That's my only thing. My question is, no, I'm serious. I'm like, you like what you say last week, not last week or last pod. You said something. Was like, wait, they scrimmaged against each other. It's like, okay, but this is what I'm saying. My question rather. If you take out, let's say you. And hear me out on this. You typically want to take out what you consider to be the main guy. What if you shift the attention to take out Dotson and say, okay, Terry, we'll go one up with you, and you got to beat us by yourself. Given the dynamics of the team as it's constructed, could you see that working? Like, almost kind of like you say, okay, we'll let LeBron, and I know it's different sport, but I'm just saying, you say, all right, LeBron, you get 40. But all the rest of you bums, you're not doing anything. If you key in on like maybe the back guy who's just as electric and has the potential to kill you, and you say, okay, well, maybe you don't go for 200 yards, but you'll get some. Could you see that working, or would that be the worst thing because he's Scary Terry?
I think that if they're going to try to go one-on-one with him and not dedicate, shift coverage to him, I think they're going to be in trouble. I think, most teams will tell you they'd rather, try to put it in Samuel's hands and, a rookie's hands. Terry's proven, around the league, the media, he doesn't get as much love, but, around the league, they know he's not only is one of the most dangerous to face straight up, but after the catch, man, he's a load to bring down. At OSU, he made Paris Campbell. Without him, he wasn't doing anything. That guy was laying the wood. I like him, Hollywood Brown, and AJ Brown. Those are my three favorite guys coming out then. And somehow Terry, dropped us in the third. But I think if they go with him straight up, they'll have a problem. I think they're going to have to do a lot of cloud cover on Washington. They're going to give him a lot of stuff, inside. And I think that's where McKissick and Gibson and the tight ends can really feast on him. Like, this could be a game where the wide receivers don't really go crazy, but the tight ends and the running backs, have a lot of chunk yards.
Note to self: put tight end in fantasy. Got it.
So basically, too much poison to try your luck on.
I think you're bringing Cole Turner back, like you're talking about Nevada. What happened with his quarterback? He went to Philadelphia and then he got cut. Cole Turner, although it was only 600 yards, he was the red zone threat for them last year. You know what I mean? He's not going to help you much in the run block game, but he's actually a decent pass blocker. And he's in the red zone. Man, I think if Washington is in the red zone and you have three tight ends, that's going to be hard. That's going to be hard to stop against Detroit. So, look for a lot of 2-3 tight end sets in the red zone as well.
Oh my God! So first off, you have Amani Rogers, who's what, 6'7", 6'8", right?
About 6'6", almost 6'7", yeah.
6'7", and
very
then
fast though.
And very fast. And you got Cole Turner, who goes like 6'5", 6'5", and then you have his carbon copy with more NFL experience in Logan Thomas, who again is 6'5". That's a basketball team that you just put onto the field. I'm just going to throw it up at Carson Wentz is 6'5" as well. Hey, just put it up here where the 7-footers hang out, and we're good. All right, say it.
Man, y'all got to prove that the offensive line can withstand the rush from Detroit's defensive line. That was one of the problems in the last game, was that the pressure being applied to Carson Wentz pushed him into making some of those mistakes.
And they got pressure on Jalen Hurts. And he escaped.
Hudson had a bunch of pressures. He didn't have a sack, but he had a bunch of pressures. So the thing is, what are you going to do if he's able to turn the corner from one side? Then the opposite side of him, they had pressure from the opposite side as well. Once they figured out they had to contain Jalen Hurts instead of letting him run away, their game changed on him a bit. So you already answered for the most part about the offensive line, but you still have to account for what the defensive line of Detroit is going to do, and hope that Wentz doesn't revert to the old Wentz and rush those throws and miss throws, because we saw at least one pass play where he overthrew the tight end who's up there with the 7-footers, and then we also saw one play where it was 3rd and 8. They went to man, and instead of him running for the 9 yards, because nobody was in the middle, he held onto it and tried to force the ball because of the pressure.
And don't forget that Detroit is the number 1 blitz team in the league coming off of week 1.
Exactly. And I was about to say that. So, you got to look at that aspect as well.
Yeah, and that's why it's imperative to continue this trend with the RPO. That gives the linebackers, it gives them just that millisecond of pause to give Wentz just some extra time, and like you say, he can pull it back in. He can just give it to the running back. So I think just continue to do that RPO, continue that that movement, and just don't stay stagnant. And I think they'll have a very good chance to pull this out.
Go ahead, Ant.
And I was gonna say, what's the number 2 pick's name?
Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Just like a Michael Parsons or any like elite rusher, TJ Watt. TJ Watt. My bad. TJ Watt. these guys have the potential to completely blow up your game plan. So that's the key, because it's like bringing out 3 tight ends is great. But if you have to start shifting coverages or double teaming, that opens up a whole different landscape for how you're going to be able to attack the defense. Then that means those corners can play a little more aggressive, all of that. Like you said, if they were blitzing like crazy, you know, it presents a whole different set of circumstances. So that will be interesting to see the chess match you'll play. So,
Lady A.
So we have 2 quarterbacks, both come from the 2016 class. They've in the past they've compared them to. So it's kind of like, oh, number 1, number 2, what you're about to do when you meet head to head. We saw the run game kind of go a little slow the last game for us. How do you think that they're going to make adjustments? Do you think that they're going to try to show out? Because I really feel like with the both of them, we've talked about Goff, we've talked about Wentz. I feel like with them, it may be a little personal. Do you think that's going to get in their head? Do you think they're going to change some things? Because you know, we have to be real. These are human beings, and they're going to get in each other's heads. Do you think that's going to change the game?
No. I think it's just going to be, you know, on Washington's side, I think it's just going to be a focus on establishing the run early on, because, you know, we all see when, you know, Gibson gets going in the run game, you know, he gets even more dangerous, you know, in the receiving game. So I think the best way for them to win, we talk about their receivers and how good they are, but this is an opportunity for Gibson to blow it up again. Like, you know, was it 110 yards combined receiving and running last? I think this is another game where he's going to be open. You know, you're going to talk about Rodrigo and they're going to put another linebacker on him. I think that they can really take advantage of that matchup probably more than anything else. So I think that, you know, as far as, you know, where they all got picked up, I don't think it'll matter. You know, Goff, he was definitely overdrafted. You know, I'll say Wentz was definitely overdrafted. These guys shouldn't have been, you know, picked where they were, although, you know, both have had success in their career. I just think that, you know, the supply and demand for quarterback in the NFL, you know, it's a little much. So a lot of guys get overdrafted, and, you know, we look back if they're still in the league 5, 6, 7 years later, and it's, you know, a lot of questions. But I think Wentz, this is the most firepower that he's ever had in his career, and I think he actually has, you know, a decent play caller that's willing to, you know, mold his playbook around him, and I don't think other teams were willing to do that.
So Detroit is the number 1 team, like I just stated, in blitzing this year. That puts their corners one-on-one with these guys. Do you think that they ease up off that blitz this week and sit back in the zone and say, hey, Carson, you're going to have to beat us while we match these zones up, and we'll heat you up with Rodrigo?
Yeah. You know, and I told one thing that I really, you know, Jalen Hurts, I'm an Alabama guy, and, you know, I've been following with him. I saw a lot of improvement. He is now, when he's back there, he's actually in a stance that he's so low to the ground. I think Michael Vick would do that a lot. He looked like that at Virginia Tech, but he's actually exploding. So as soon as he gets that snap, he's exploding off of it. Detroit, they're just looking to exploit, you know, knock the ball down at the line, you know, just getting their hands up. So I think that was an opportunity for him to do that. Carson Wentz, I'm not sure if you're going to do that as much because, you know, again, bigger quarterback, you know, if you send a lot of guys, you're sacrificing your back end. So I think that's a lot of risk. I think they will blitz, but I don't think nearly as much as they did against Philadelphia, especially if Washington can establish the run early. And that's why I think exactly like when the game starts, you know, they could start the game with play action, but they have to set up low.
And I know you're ready.
No, I just think it's interesting hindsight, because I literally was thinking this like 2 minutes ago when you were talking. I'm like, the thing that sucks is that we'll never know what Carson would have really been at his very best.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot disregard the knee injury and then everything that he had to go through with that whole Nick Foles thing. I don't think it's that you couldn't tell me that he was drafted too high when he was 15 and 14 and 2 or 1 and he was tearing up the league. Like, I don't know. The scary thing is if he's ever able to tap into that, then it really is off to the races for this team. He's a lot better than what I thought he was gonna be, and it's just week 1 and it's against Jacksonville. But I still say this: I don't care who you got back there on defense. If he's on, you're going to be in a lot more games than you're going to be out of, and you got the potential to dominate us for sure. And then when you're talking about going heads up with the Eagles, I mean, best quarterback typically wins, but I don't know. And I'm at in Go Caps. I am at the livest spot in Arlington, the Bluebird Cigar Lounge, and they play music in between the breaks on Thursdays. So they're watching Thursday night football, and then they listen to whatever oldie but a goodie is on.
All right, listen, Burgundy and Gold Report, we got to thank you for coming in, stepping in with us, and giving us a great breakdown on what should happen on this Sunday. Can you give us a prediction, your prediction for this weekend's game?
Yeah, I think Washington scores 31. I think Detroit, keeps it, competitive in the beginning, but I think the second half is when Washington really, blows it open. But I think it's 31. I'm going to say 31-20. I think that this is a game where exactly we talk about Montez Sweat. We turnovers on Washington's side. We talk about the Jacksonville game. I think it was 3 turnovers, and they still pulled that one out. I think this will be reversed with this game. Jared Goff, again, I think that they can attack him. They really have to just key on getting him, because I don't think that guy is scaring anyone. But I think this is a scenario where our tight ends, and I think Gibson is going to have another great game, another 100+ yards combined all purpose. I think Thomas, I think he shook off a lot of the rust. I think he's going to have a hell of a game. He's going to approach that 100-yard mark. He's going to have a touchdown. And one of the other tight ends, I think, will get a touchdown. But I think, again, this game is going to be about Gibson. That's who my focus is on offense.
This game's about Gibson. I appreciate them words right there. And Adam, please tell everybody where they can find your work one more time, please.
Yeah, no doubt. The Burgundy and Gold Report.com. I also have a little podcast that I do, just shorts, 5-10 minute episodes about our team called B&G Report Happy Hour. That, along with my appearance tonight, I have my podcast page for all of my appearances. So check that out, the Burgundy and Gold Report.com. I'm going to be doing a lot of player evaluations a lot earlier this year. I've been talking to some small school HBCU guys. The whole story with the transfer portal being shut down, there's going to be a lot of craziness this year with that. So yeah, just check me out, the Burgundy and Gold Report.com.
Hold on, Adam. Adam, listen, I don't know if you guys really understand what Adam does, right? Adam digs so deep on these players. So I would like a little sneak preview right here. Do you have a nugget, anything that's stashed away for a player that we should watch during this college football season that's going to shoot up draft boards or just be a hidden gem so far?
I'm still looking, but a guy I really like is Asias Guthrie out of Delaware State. But he's known as one of the better safeties. He was on the Senior Bowl watch list. I had a great interview with him about a month and a half ago. But again, he's one of these guys that is caught up. I was shocked that he just messaged me, a couple weeks ago that he was entering the transfer portal, and he got offers from Norfolk State and South Carolina State. So right now, the new rule NCAA says that all of those are going to be shut down, including Power 5, until December. So this really complicates things for me. There's a couple of guys I've been talking to that actually, I think NIL deals are part of it. But a lot of these guys are entering the transfer portals, aren't going to be able to go back to school. So this is going to be one of just kind of like those COVID season where there's a lot of, unknowns. But like last year, Joshua Williams from Fayetteville State, and then the year before that, it was Kyle Duggar that I talked to that ended up with the Patriots. So far, I don't see any guys like them yet. But yeah, just going to keep digging.
All right. So hold on. Wait. You said the transfer portal shut down. So it's like people were trying to hit the transfer portal during the season and still be eligible?
Well, yeah, unless it's a Power 5, they don't really have to sit. Like we're talking about the guy talking about Guthrie from Delaware State. He could go anywhere and play right away. So it's more than you think. There's a lot of these guys that I think they get into, the first game, second game, and they're seeing that it's not really shaped up that they're supposed to. I don't know the story of Guthrie. I'm going to have to talk to him more because he was on the watch list. So I don't know what happened at Delaware State. But this is still a guy that, not a day one guy we're talking about, but, a possible late day 2, day 3, safety corner. Again, 6'2.5", really good speed that I think, you can't have too many good DBs. But I'm not sure if he's on the level of some of the other guys I've talked to and evaluated. But Yeah, still looking at the HBCU and small school level, but right now, yeah, it's early. I'm still on Washington Commanders right now.
All right. That's Adam from the Burgundy and Gold Report. Lady A, Lady Antoinette on Twitter. Said is ublink71 on Twitter. Ant is Mind of a Man Pod. And of course, I'm Toothpick74. We'd like to thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you, Adam, again for bringing all the knowledge that you do bring when you check in with the First String Podcast. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the First String Podcast. And say it.
Go Dogs.
There you go. Thank you.